Welcome back to our channel. My name's Wendy. Today, I've got a couple different things going on, but the main thing I want to bring you along for is maybe a little bit of my garden tour, showing you what it looks like now, which is not much. Actually looks like a mess right now. But what I'm planning to do with it, and going over what I'm planning to do with it, I'm also making some rice for me and my husband for later. I am going to try a new recipe for hibachi rice for me and him. So pre-cooking the rice now so that I can put it in the refrigerator for a while. But I am going to try making up some weed killer. I keep seeing on Facebook this very similar recipe for homemade weed killer. Seems much cheaper to me than anything I've seen at the stores and probably way less chemical. I thought I'd also bring you along, see if that helps. If that works or not, then maybe you'll have a good thing. Me and my husband really wanted to try to get rid of some of the big weeds and big areas where we have to weed eat, because we have to do a ton of weed eating here on our property. And it gets to be a bit much and a bit hard sometimes. So he has been working over this last weekend and this week when he gets home from work at fixing our yard, from where we have a ton of spots that need to be weed eated, but our weed eater has been broken. He now has one working. He's planning to fix the other one. So he has a working one now, I should say, and he's planning to fix the other one. But we're going to try to cut back on some of the areas we have to weed eat. So we have a spot out behind the garage is one of the areas. That's where I have some of my tires, my tomato plants, and I would love to put more stuff back there later if I can, next year maybe, because it's so shaded right there. Has worked really good for my tomatoes so far this year. But when it gets built up back there, the riding mower can't get back there. We do now also have a good push mower, so that would help with that section. But there's also that mulberry tree back there, so it might be still kind of hard even to get that in there. But it's still a big weed eating area. So I'm going to try this back there. That's going to be the first spot I'm going to try doing it at. But depending on how much this is, it might do a little bit more than that, but that's where I'm going to start. So I'm starting with vinegar. I'm just dumping it in a big tub because I don't have a bucket anywhere. My tomato plants are in buckets. I kind of regret that because my tomato plants actually, I shouldn't say they did nothing. They started to grow in the last month. They have finally started to grow, some of them. I have buckets out there with pepper plants in them. But this was not quite full, but I think it's probably close enough. So I've poured about a gallon of vinegar in here. Then this recipe says 1.5 cups of salt. And I've seen this recipe done just a little bit different, varying ways, but they're all very similar. So this is one. So I'll give this one a try. I've seen some where you add water into it too, but that empties that jar. Wow. That's about 1.5. And since my vinegar is just a tad less, then I think it'll be okay to have that be a tad less as well. I have another jar of salt. Don't worry about that. But when I get a refill, I'll need that. So I'm not actually going to wash that. It's fine. And it says 2 tablespoons of Dawn dish liquid. 1 and 2. I'm just going to use this teaspoon. I just have like a little tub, a bucket. If I had a bucket, I could probably shake it up easier. But I did see somebody posted that don't try to get your dish soap your vinegar to. Some people use water in this mixture as well, but this one doesn't say to. And their picture, if they're accurate, it worked very well along their fence line. So this is what I'm going to give a go. And we're going to go for this outside. And I want to try to bring y'all along and show you my garden while I'm out there. But I'm probably not going to go out until this rice is done. It'll be almost done. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not burning. This is just white rice. Me and my husband are going to have hibachi chicken tonight, I believe. Henry's not a big fan of hibachi chicken. I'm not fully decided. I think I'm going to do him a salmon patty tonight. He's got 2 patties left. He loved those. He's over here smiling. He liked that idea. So then I just have to figure out the other 2 kiddos, what they're going to have tonight. I might make them some chicken nuggets. If I'm making him salmon patties, I might make them chicken nuggets. Make me and my husband this. They had some sushi this weekend. Normally when they get sushi, I get hibachi. We didn't do that since we were just at the regular store. But I want to get this new recipe for hibachi chicken I found to try. It looked way easier than the first one we tried. It's not from what it's labeled as, It doesn't look like it's a full-on hibachi recipe, but it looks super close enough for me. I mean, honestly, the like is the grilled chicken, the rice, mix some vegetables, and you put some seasonings. I mean, I don't think you really go wrong with that. So I want to get a bowl to put this in so I can put it in the refrigerator for now. But I'm gonna make me hibachi chicken with it. I'm actually thinking about getting a thing of kielbasa out of the freezer and doing that for my husband's day. That way he can have the kielbasa with it. I can have chicken with it. Other than that, our meal will be the same if I cook those separately. So I need to get that out because I hadn't thought about it until just a little bit ago. But that kielbasa doesn't take very long to unthaw. So, but this needs to cool off in the refrigerator. You put it on a skillet. So this is 12 o'clock. I'm going to put this in there and I will make this late water in here. I'm going to get ready to take y'all outside. Alrighty. Say hi. Hi. Made it so we can see ourselves in the camera now. You like that? All right. So I'm going to show you the garden before I pour that stuff out there. So you can see what it looks like now. And then, well, I mean, it's not going to be that quick anyway. So you still seen it. But I'm going to need Henry to hold him while I pour that stuff how I want it poured. Hopefully y'all can hear me over the traffic. My garden looks pretty terrible right now, but I'm going to turn you around and let you see it, okay? Hopefully I aimed the camera correctly, which I'll be able to see it from the other side too. All right, so my garden, everything is super wilted and falling over. I don't know if I have any. I don't have my gloves on. I should. I don't know if I have any squashes growing here, and the weeds are coming up around them again. They weren't doing that before. So... oh, there's one squash in there. Looks ready to pliddle, but it's ready to pick. I can't get it angled right with the baby up here. There's another one over here. So I'm still getting a few, so I don't want to pull them quite yet. Here's one. Here's a leaf over it. But I might try to pull some of these dead branches. I'm going to try to pull some of the dead branches. Everything in the middle is gone. Next year, when I plant my zucchini and squashes, I'm going to plant them closer into the middle so that they don't lean out onto the ground as bad. My husband killed a few of them when he to do the weed eating, he killed some of them. But, oh well, it happens. We learn next year. Let's see, a bunch of these. They're just round leaves. I'm going to get some gloves, hope maybe later tonight when it's cooler, and try to pull some of those off and pick those couple squashes that are ready. And I think there were a couple little zucchinis in here too. See that one? There's one in there. It's in there, but it's little. So I'm going to try to pull those. Oh, one thing I did show you inside. I pulled my onions. They didn't do much. They were super little. But we got some. I did get few. They're super little. I've got them inside drying. This is mostly full of weeds. But I am planning an azure order soon. And I'm hoping to get some seeds from there. If I don't get them from there, I'll get them from Walmart. But my hope is to get them from azure and be some hopefully really good seeds. But I'm going to do some more onions between the two beds. I'm going to try to spread them out. I don't know what I'm going to do in here. I pulled the lettuce that came up. I had one head that was still growing, and I ended up pulling it. It just died in the heat. This bed, hopefully you can see, I've already pulled my kale plants. They were starting to not look too good, and I got a ton of kale out of them. My freezer, I have a freezer. One freezer's kale, I believe, is plenty enough. I also pulled out my green bean plants that weren't really doing much. And I was leaving this one for now, but then I realized the ones that I did pick and took inside, they weren't, there was nothing inside of them. They were all floppy and whatnot. So my green beans, didn't get a lot of them this year, but I did get some. See, like back here is one of those spots where I need to use some of that stuff and see if it works. So if I have any extra doing up there, I think this is the first place I'm going to come. But that spot up there is just so hard to weed eat. It's such a big area. But so I'm going to pull this plant as well in later when I come out probably. I am also, I don't know. These look super dead. And a lot of my cucumbers, they're just not ripening all the way. There's one in there, but they're just not ripening all the way. And I mean, Henry and I don't like them to taste them anymore. There's another one down there, but they're not turning dark green like they're supposed to when they're ripe. So I think that this heat is just killing them. Oh, there's a big one on the ground over there.
but it's not right color either. So I think this heat is just killing them before they're ready. So I am probably gonna pull these soon too, but there's still some flower buds on it. So I may not, we'll see. This one here, this tomato plant doesn't look that great anymore, but there are a ton of orange tomatoes on it. This is the one I have gotten the most of my tomatoes off of. So I need to get those tonight, and I take them inside and put them in front of a window and let them finish ripening. Did not get too many off of this one. That one looks about dead, but we'll see. I still have several on this one, and they are still ripening up nicely. Look at those. And these are cherry tomatoes. Got a couple here I need to go ahead and get rid of. So I'll do that once I get my gloves on later this afternoon, tonight. I'll do that. But the kids wanted to come out for a little bit. I told them we're not staying out long. It's hot. One of these, I think these are supposed to be my big beefsteak tomatoes, but they're not getting very big. So they're still just cherry tomatoes. But I got a ton of cherry tomatoes this year, and my husband has been eating them. I didn't think he liked them, but he's been eating them. I may give some to his brother. Yeah, this one's gonna go. It's kind of. But somebody I like to watch, if you've watched Roots and Refuge Farm, she is awesome. She posts a lot of gardening content, and she says that most of that, well, maybe not that, this one, yeah, that bug damage, I guess. But this here, she says that's a calcium deficiency. So, that's just where we gotta work on our dirt, I guess. And this corner back in here, see, I have tires that maybe my husband can use to, make me some more of these next year along there. But I'm gonna try to use some of that stuff along these fences back here. I could begin the push mower probably down here through the middle. But, I mean, a lot of the grass looks dead back here anyways, but that's actually just where he weed-eated and it laid down and then died. So, I'm gonna try pouring back here. This is the first spot that I'm going to use that stuff and see if it works. If it works, we'll do some more areas. So that's what we're going to do.
Okay. This is now the next day, but I want to bring you along for the rest of this recipe. I ended up not being able to make this last night for different reasons. So the rice has been in the refrigerator. I ended up having to put the chicken and the kielbasa in the refrigerator so that I could cook this tonight. So, I'm trying to hurry up and make these real quick. I am not exactly following a recipe for these. I have discovered the hibachi recipe that we tried before. It's just, hibachi making is apparently just very time consuming and more than I have time for, but I really want the taste. So, I am just going to give this a go off the top of my head. It might basically just be more like a stir fry. With a few seasonings in it. I'm not sure. And we use white sauce to eat it with. But this is what I'm doing. Over here, let's see, I'm going to show you.
Over here, I've got my chicken cooking in some butter. It normally says to cook everything else first, cook your meat last. I don't prefer that because I like my meat cooked a little bit more. Austin's kielbasa there is almost finished. I am going to get his going because, oops. Here we go. I'm going to get his going first because he will not want his meat cooked as well as much as I want mine cooked. His meat's done. It also doesn't take as long. Some onions in his. I have a small squash from the garden from yesterday. Okay. Got this little, I put just this small squash in his. And then I'm just going to kind of divvy up between us. But I've got this one small squash and one that's a little bit bigger. I may not put all of that one in mine. But I think this one is enough for his. Kidney. I've washed these already. And this I am going to divide. And I have more chicken in mine than I have kielbasa in his. So I'll probably put more meat and stuff in mine. And kielbasa will probably also be enough for him for at least 2 meals. Mine might do me 2 or 3. But I'm going with the hibachi idea, but I think I'm just going to keep making it a little bit differently, playing around with some seasonings, just getting it a way like it that is close enough to hibachi for me. Okay, that half of the zucchini is going to be for mine. I'm putting the smaller half in all. That is his veggies. We're going to give it a stir. I'm also going to turn it up a little bit now. It was popping too much. I'm going to let my chicken cook a little bit longer than I cooked his because I do not want it undercooked at all.
That's my only thing with certain places you go to get hibachi. So working on Austin's. Has a snack. All right, I'm just gonna add sauce to this. Oh, whoops, it's not open. Try this again. Alrighty. Gonna add some. Yeah, I don't know if that's enough, but Austin may add more of that to his plate. Smells good though. Yeah, my chicken. Sesame seed oil as well, but I was not sure about that. I just used butter because I'm familiar with it. I'm hoping my battery does not die. And I'm just going to add ice directly to it. Some for Austin. Austin likes the meat more than he likes the rice. Now, if I made him some white gravy, he'd probably like this even better. I may. We'll see. I plan rice to be half for him, half for me. And this rice is already cooked. We just gonna fry it up a little bit. I'm gonna add some more of the teriyaki sauce to this too. Maybe some butter. I'm gonna turn it down. I originally had it 300. I'm gonna turn it down to 200. I can't remember what all spices are supposed to go in hibachi. So I did know the teriyaki sauce and I had the sesame seed oil, but I think that was just for getting it started on the grill. And I opted to use butter. Although I do know they use butter too. But like I said, I'm just winging it and I'm gonna play with some. Okay, my husband's is almost done. I'm going to do 2 eggs. I've pulled everything to the front of the skillet I'm making his in. Yeah, I wish I had a little bit more room there, but it's gonna be fine. It's gonna all get mixed together anyways. My chicken is getting there. Well, my chicken is technically done. All right. And my veggies are now ready for the rest of the rice. I've loosened it up already. Turn his back up a little bit, cook those eggs. I should have scrambled the eggs separately. I have not actually made their supper yet, but they're probably having easy stuff. Let that go a little bit. Scrambling up this egg. Well, at least 2 eggs. I put 2 in it. I probably should have scrambled them in a separate pan. I'm actually going to turn his off. Those eggs will finish cooking all the way. I definitely do not have them inside the skillet. I think I'm actually going to try just cracking them in there, breaking it up, and just letting it go, letting it cook. Turn it anyways. Either better bet might be, like I said, to do them on the side. But, hey, we tried 2 different things today. We might do something different next time. I'll bring y'all back in a little bit and show you the plates. I'm going to let mine simmer a little bit longer. Austin's is done. I'm just waiting for him to come home. Or with some experimenting. My husband likes experiments. And we're going to go from there. So that's what I'm doing with for now. If I get cut off, I will try to at least charge it so that I can show you my plate when I finish. My meat is about, well, I think that's from when I put the hibachi in the oil. All right, I'm going to use that spoon. I'm going to add my veggies. I might should have let his veggies cook a little bit longer, but I'm not sure. Hey, hopefully you can hear me over that sizzling. I am going to add a little bit of sesame oil to mine to help the veggies not stick because most of the butter in mine did get done. But not a lot because I don't know a lot about it. Then cut it out. You still have to get us this supper made real quick because I really wanted to eat this last night. Then I ended up not having time to make it with some other things we had going on. So I wanted to make it tonight, but I do have somewhere to be at 5:30, so I'm making it a little bit early. I'll eat. My husband will eat whenever he eats. You can see my mess of a kitchen behind me. It's because I've not been home all day. I normally wash my dishes the night before in the morning, right after breakfast, with the breakfast dishes. But I did not have time this morning because we've been gone all day. So I'm going to make all this. And if I have time later tonight, I'll go ahead and wash them since I've got so many. I'm going to let my veggies cook a while so that they soften up before I add the rice.